Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to Landon Stadium on this Wednesday night. A spot in the 2024 Waratah Cup final on the line for two of New South Wales' biggest clubs, Blacktown City versus APIA Leichhardt. Alex Molchanoff, delighted to be along with you for this special occasion on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. A very warm welcome to you from Sydney, from New South Wales, and indeed from wherever you are watching us tonight around the world. Let's take you straight to the team news because there's a bit of it for both sides. Mark Crittenden has trusted the kids. 4 changes from the team that were held to a 1-1 draw by the Central Coast Mariners at Bloom Park on the weekend. In goal, number 1 Tristan Prendergast is still there, as is number 5 Grant Lynch. Number 9 Ruben Owuruotife is brought in to lead the line. Number 11, Danny Choi in support of him. Number 12, Tyrone Burney is there. Number 18, Nick O'Brien as well. Number 19, Julian Rodriguez, given the chance from the start tonight. Number 22, Jacob Manetti. Number 23, Joey Gibbs, with such a history of big cup goals at this ground. And the 2 youngsters, number 52, Teng Atian, making his Blacktown City debut in such a big game, alongside number 53, UK Mickey, who makes just his second senior appearance for the club. For APIA Leichhardt, Franco Parisi has run the changes amongst a period where they played 6 games in 17 days, and then fought the cup for them. They're without a win in 4. They're looking for the winning formula tonight. In goal, number 1, Anthony Buzanes. Number 2, Saya Kamiyachi, who takes his spot from the weekend loss to Sydney United 58. As does number 7, Jack Stewart, and number 9, Ben Gibson. For 11, Rory Jordan there as well as number 14, Jack Armstrong. Number 15, Kemba Mwatamolo, returns from his suspension on the weekend. Number 8, Jordan Segreto was a scorer a couple of weeks ago against Wollongong. Number 22, Eddie Caspers. Number 23, Dakota Askew. And number 41, Nick Azerne, amongst a reshuffled defence. So, 2 teams with great history in this competition. APIA in its early iterations, and Blacktown more recently. Mark Crittenden's men attempting to write another chapter in the storied history of this club, which last won this competition 10 years ago. For APIA, the silverware has flowed steadily over the past decade, but with this season's premiership now all but out of reach, Franco Parisi's side are attempting to return to the final, where they were beaten by Sydney United 58 in last season's showpiece. It's set to be a tasty one. We're expecting plenty of attacking football, 2 attacking lineups from the 2 coaches tonight. Not much to lose and plenty to gain. And you'll enjoy us as we bring you all 90 minutes, plus extra time and penalties potentially this evening. We need a winner. Rockdale await the winner in a couple of weeks' time. Expecting that cup final to be played in mid-August. Still yet to get a final date on that one. Will come out from Football New South Wales in the coming weeks, no doubt. Early offsides as Ruben Owuruotife tried to get off the shoulder. He's had an injury-marred season. He's in from the start today in a big game alongside Joey Gibbs up front. Much of a history that Blacktown City have in these cup competitions. At least in the Australian Cup here, but they were winners of the Waratah Cup when they made the final 2 years in a row. Won it in 2014, went down in the 2015 final. I think they're back since, but there's still a core of this squad that exists from those great cup runs almost a decade ago. Great for them to recapture some of that again tonight. Lynch is across to make the early challenge in defence. APIA Leichhardt started this way on the weekend against Sydney United 58, dominated the large portions of the opening stages but weren't able to find a goal. They paid the price, eventually going down 2-0 to goals from Alessandro Lacalandra and then a beauty from Shunta Nakamura. To find a little bit more cutting edge tonight. Helped by the fine form Oliver Callatz was in on Sunday afternoon. Jack Stewart was lively, as was Jack Armstrong, who's off the shoulder and might well have given them the lead. Their wastefulness in front of goal continues. Jack Armstrong, usually so deadly in those situations, exactly the sort of run he's looking for in behind the defence. Spurns the first chance of the night. Tristan Prendergast made himself big. He must be given some credit, but didn't get a touch to the opportunity. Armson unable to even force a save. So Blacktown City have got some early defending to do. They're not helping themselves out by turning the ball over in that area of the pitch. Here's Armson again. Under pressure by Choi. It's the startlet of this division. Certainly a key in those couple of cut runs that we've already mentioned. Not the best bit of ball boy work from that young man down in front of the stands and down at his head. Or head in his hands, rather, as he returns halfway. Another ball in, this time from Ozone. It forces Lynch to just turn it behind. APIA Leichhardt starting right on the front foot, as they needed to. The premiership run has all but fallen by the wayside over the course of the past couple of weeks, and that heavy slate of fixtures. Started with plenty of energy tonight, and that one was steered in towards Gibson. Thank goodness, from Blacktown's perspective, that Jacob Maniti was back there to do some defensive work. Joey Gibbs is having to drop deep just to try and get them out of trouble. This is almost a mirror image of what APIA were able to do to Sydney United 58 in the early stages of Sunday's game. They were just completely unable to get out of their own half in large periods of the opening half hour. Blacktown finding APIA's press similarly difficult to break down. Apprehensive home crowd sitting in front of me at the moment at Landon Stadium. It's Dakota Askew. Missed that game on Sunday, but brought in from the start tonight by Franco Parisi. He looks to have gone with a back three. We sensed it was an attacking lineup from him. Temba Moatamalo restored to the heart of their defence after missing that game on Sunday through suspension. Ozone and Askew flanking him in the early stages of this one. Similar setup to the one they went with in the final against that same opposition, Sydney United 58, after Sean Simmons copped an early sending off after providing an assist for Rory Jordan's opener in last season's cup final. Parisi's team looking to become the first team to do a State League double, if you like, since 2018. Great side at Sydney Olympic under Abbas Saad. Still have an outside chance of pulling off something similar, although they're certainly not the favourites now. Dale placed fairly pretty at the top of the league table, 6-point buffer up to their closest chasers, Marconi. Still with a chance for the championship and the cup if they can get up here tonight. They've started about it the right way. Jack Stewart, who was lively on Sunday, didn't get his rewards, has it nicked off his toe by Grant Lynch, who's been at the centre of everything defensively early for Blacktown City. Good ball out from Choi for Joey Gibbs. Now it's Nick O'Brien starting at the back tonight, but we know the ball-playing ability he has. Can unpick defences higher up the pitch. That ball searching for Choi, but cut out by Ozone. And now Jack Stewart in the areas where he loves to operate between defence and midfield. Looking to thread this one through to Ben Gibson, who scored 20 goals in all competitions to this point in the season in his first year at APIA. Bit of a loose ball from Nick O'Brien, but it's worked out okay. DJ Burney's been an ever-present for Crittenden since breaking into the first team towards the end of the 2022 season, part of that grand final victory in that season. Choi wasn't because he was overseas, but in the start tonight, he looks to integrate some of his older heads with the youngsters. Atian, he's starting, well, first appearance in senior football for Blacktown City. The youngster who spent most of his year in the 20s, got a couple of goals in the underage competition as well. So we'll search for him from set pieces at some point tonight, no doubt. APIA settling into more like a bat four, with Askew partnering Temba Waratah in the centre of it. Kambiyashi off the left, and Azoni on the ball now down the right. Couldn't keep it in play though. And Danny Choi will have a nice little individual battle down the near side over the course of the evening. The youngsters Yukai Miki starting at left fullback tonight. Just got Nick O'Brien into a little bit of trouble as he looked to play out of defence, but he was still 22 years of age, but plays with coolness of head well beyond his years, able to work something out for Blacktown, who finally have been able to escape their own half for a sustained period, but not been able to mount a dangerous attack to this point. Gibson, whose hold-up work has been probably the most remarkable part of his season, despite all the goals that have been fired in. In fact, he's been able to take up the lone striker role, which was such a hole for APIA in their title-winning season last year. Armson looking to get in behind again. Atian did enough to put the ball behind. In fact, it was Jordan Segreto making the run from deep this time. No Adrian Uchino tonight for Parisi, given the rest. He's still available off the bench. APIA need that cool head in the latter stages of the game, and indeed if we go towards extra time and penalties, no doubt he'll be the ones called upon by Parisi to provide the experience, hoping not to need them. Certainly the way they've started, Town City have plenty to be worried about. First corner to be swung in from the far side. Once again, it was Grant Lynch diving across to make sure that the ball didn't travel any further into the box, but there's some worry about his well-being now. Well, he hasn't hurt himself too badly. It's as though he might have just copped a smack in the face, might have misjudged the flight of the football. Freddie Merchant now sent a referee for this big occasion. The younger officials around the New South Wales State Leagues trusted with this big occasion tonight. Straight over to check on the well-being of the very experienced Blacktown City centre half. Most promising sign early for Blacktown, who've under plenty of early pressure and now are going to be down a man for this set piece, because Lynch was required to, or asked to, receive attention. And so, he won't be there to defend this corner kick. So the youngsters needing to step up. Ruben Awaratife offers plenty of height back there. Atian, as we've mentioned, has been a threat down the other end in the under-20s competition. It's a rather different kettle of fish for him tonight. Fortunately, the ball in didn't beat the first man in Danny Choi, and Lynch is able to join the attack at a perfect moment. Looking to run in behind is Julian Rodriguez, and always look to just be a step the wrong side of the defensive line. He's been called upon in some big moments by Mark Crittenden over the course of the season. 7 appearances off the bench in the league, has been part of a couple of the starting sides over this cup run. The 18-year-old, he's got bags of talent. Not to worry about that. Interesting to see what sort of contribution he can offer higher up the field for Blacktown tonight. But it's another free kick given away in their own half. This time it was TJ Burney sliding in. APIA opted to take it short. Freddie Merchant's going to pull it back. The ball not quite at the right spot. Tonight we must have a winner, so extra time and penalties if we're not able to find one over the course of 90 minutes. We haven't had a game go to, or a Waratah Cup semi-final go to extra time for quite a while. The last one all the way back in 2016, when Blacktown City were a beaten side by Manly United at Cromer Park. Funnily enough, it was one of their old boys that got the goal to knock them out of the competition. 119th minute, Daniel Bragg, the scorer in that game. It's Jordan Segreto, has played it straight into the referee, which will frustrate the players, but fortunately for officials, they can't disappear in those sorts of circumstances. shame for APIA because that was building rather nicely. Jordan Segreto has been in such fine form for APIA this season. His first year at the club after making the move from the Central Coast Mariners Academy. Tried to go straight forward from the resulting drop ball. Blacktown were alive to the danger. And now APIA have to be alive to the running power that Choi offers. Korean-born midfielder who's had such a storied career at this football club. Either side with a stint overseas in Portugal. He was at Canalas for a couple of years. After an ACL injury, he's returned to Blacktown, which saw him for almost a year. Tamalo's ball over the top was searching for Stewart. Not really any danger of reaching him. The ball rolled out to the youngster Atian, who made it into a 50-50. Fortunately, he managed to win it initially. Nick O'Brien with a no-nonsense clearance. He's having to provide the cool head alongside Lynch at the moment, the 22-year-old. These two in the centre of a bunch of teenagers, making the first and second appearances for Blacktown City in senior football, respectively. On this big occasion for the club, trying to make their first Waratah Cup final since back in 2015. It's been a while between drinks. Just joining us, the best chance of the game in 14 minutes or so, falling the way of Jack Armson, who could only slide it wide off Tristan Prendergast's net through one-on-one. They've continued to put raid after raid together on Blacktown City's nets to no avail to this point, but Jack Armson might be about to change that. Finding Rory Jordan, first we've really seen of him, feeds it back to Armson. He's drawn Prendergast out. Blocked the initial attempt, and then getting back there was Yukai Miki. Had to be attentive because Ben Gibson was sniffing around the edge of the 6-yard box. And had the chance fallen to him, you have little doubt he would have found a way to stick it into the back of the net. Another early corner to defend for Blacktown, who are coming under increasing threat on their home patch. A redemption story for APIA. Should they look to chase it tonight? Beaten here on the opening day of the season, defending their premiership by 6-3. The narrative has been rather different to this point. Another clean strike from the edge of the area as Rory Jordan connected with one. In fact, it was Armson connecting with one. Up on a rather less obvious opportunity than his first. Still not able to force Prendergast into a meaningful save to this point. From the Zanis didn't reach anyone in sky blue. Up here in their change strip again tonight. Zone. Just settle the tempo somewhat. APIA in rather commanding control of the early stages of this game. To that 6-3 victory in the opening round, but they did get a win here in the league last season. They have no fear of coming to Blacktown City. That was another high-scoring one. 4-2 victory that day. They had to come from behind a couple of times. Jack Stewart was very close to having a hat-trick. Only a Daniel Collins leg, which deflected into the back of the net, denied him that. Six goals Blacktown scored that day. Jack O'Brien got 4 of them to kickstart another high-scoring season for him. Not chosen in the squad tonight, given a rest by Crittenden again. Kazone. His touch took him into a brilliant area and past Choi. Gibson was in there again. Atian watchful in his defence. 2 Blacktown players coming together. Nithi and Choi almost disrupting the other. They look to win the ball back in their own half. They just can't get out of it at the moment, Blacktown City. APIA's problem hasn't been controlling games over the last couple of weeks or so. Turning the dominance into goals. This is a big chance for them. Jordan left it behind initially. Gibson! Nothing left than APIA Leichhardt have deserved. Blacktown barely able to get out of their own half and now punished. Ben Gibson continuing his fine run this season. A 22nd goal in all competitions. He's 6th in the cup run. And after spurning a couple of opportunities over the weekend, he wasn't about to let that one pass. What a year this 21-year-old star is having. Passing it into the back of the net. And in contrast to the last couple of weeks, this time APIA do have their goal and they've got it early. Inside the opening 20 minutes, the hosts trail. So what does the response look like now for Blacktown? That win here earlier in the year has been against the trend against between these two. APIA were winners on the last fixture between them. Back in round 16 at Leichhardt Oval. The game started in a similar vein to this one. Scorers that day, Sean Simmons, Saya Kambayashi and Dakota Askew, two of them finding their names on the starting team sheet tonight as well. They got some defending to do here. Waratah breaks free of the defence really for the first time tonight. Backed into a corner now by Askew. The cross off the APIA Leichhardt defender. In fact, it was Azone who'd gone all the way to the left-hand side of the field to cover. All deflects behind, and Blacktown City have responded well to going behind. Uniti known for his technical ability. He's a good striker of a dead ball. He's entrusted with the duties of sending in Blacktown City's first quarter of the night. His best effort, though, Pete Armson at the front post. Yukai Miki back out to him. Getting inside and getting a half cross, half shot away. There's Nick O'Brien. A poor turnover from Azone. Not something you often say about him. Kachoi punish. Searching for Joey Gibbs. Just loves his cup football. Has got big goals in Australian Cup games, in Waratah Cup finals. He's no stranger to the big occasion in knockout football. He's looking lively early here again tonight. APIA mustn't rest on their laurels. To aware the dangers that this Blacktown City side can offer in an attacking sense. Uniti to the near side to swing this one in. It's a tester for Bazanis because Atian was flying in, and then the rebound is off the crossbar. Fingertip save from Bazanis. Might have hurt himself a little in the process, but it was a pretty assured piece of goalkeeping in the end. Almost had to wait for the ball to just drop down. And he got his angles absolutely right. Had to do so. What a response from Blacktown after going behind. They couldn't get out of their own half in the early stages. Now the roles have reversed and APIA are being pegged back. Strap into your seatbelts, folks. This Cup semi-final, we thought it might be full of goals. Games between these two tend to be. Attacking lineup sent out by both teams. And they seem intent on giving us an entertaining night of football. All over the top from Nick O'Brien. Waited well for Waratah, who was followed all the way over to the near side, this time by Dakota Askew. Former Blacktown City player, of course. Part of that 2022 run to the championship. Scored against his old club in that round 16 fixture at Leichhardt Oval. Still his only goal for the club in 2024. The youngster Yukai Miki. Take the throw, Gibbs presenting, Stewart clearing. As APIA led, they've survived an attack which struck their crossbar. Gone to the frame of the goal by the fingertips of Anthony Bazanis. A sloppy touch from Danny Choi. Hasn't quite looked in full flow in the opening quarter of this game. Not to say he can't produce the moment of magic that can get Blacktown City up on level terms. Not quite as sharp as we're always accustomed to seeing him. Certainly at his peak. Stewart's been well marshalled to this point by the young Blacktown City left fullback. As TJ Burney loves to go on these adventurous runs forward. Drops it off for Rodriguez. The big frame of Tife in the middle. It's easily cut out by Waratah, and now Gibson's got clever feet to get APIA going forward. Maniti screening in front of his defence and making sure the attack couldn't develop any further. It's Blacktown's turn, just to slow the tempo a little. Played so many games together. Tristan Prendergast wearing the captain's armband tonight for Blacktown City in the absence of Mario Chabal. Went off early. An injury against the Central Coast Mariners over the weekend. They've got to be very careful here. Temba Waratah got himself in all sorts of trouble and was perhaps a little fortunate to hear the whistle of Brodie Merchant as Tife under all sorts of pressure. Still only the one goal for son of the NSL legend, Francis. This season came in a 1-1 draw earlier in the season against Manly United. Certainly wasn't a pretty goal, but one that counted all the same for them on that night. He has made his reputation as an opportunist up and down the New South Wales state leagues in his young career. Taken long, but fairly easily cut out by APIA. The best touch forward though from Eddie Caspers, who's playing that screening role in front of the defence tonight. Position usually occupied by the APIA captain, Adrian Uchino. Jordan loves to run with the football. He was looking to feed Gibson. Lynch sweeping up. Aniti with blue shirts surrounding him. Managed to work a free kick out of it all. Mickey. Displays pass from man on his second senior appearance. Now has some defending to do in the form of the very experienced Jack Stewart. And now for being a game breaker. Didn't work out conventionally, but still fell to him, and Prendergast beats it into a safe area for Blacktown City. APIA after just relinquishing some of their control on this game after scoring the opening goal, starting to get themselves going forward more regularly again. Got some more defending to do here. TJ Burney offering a consistent threat down the right. Fruitful in the way of an immediate opportunity, but an attacking throw nonetheless for the hosts. Lynch. Vision to unpick defences. Opts for the safer option this time. Nick O'Brien. Really getting more and more adventurous in his runs forwards. That one fairly easily cleared by Askew, but they're struggling to deal with the quantity of crosses that he's starting to fire in, the Blacktown right fullback. Gets the ball back off Julian Rodriguez, and then he's all covered by Seiya Kambayashi, an attacking fullback of the highest quality in his own right. And he came into the league as an attacking midfielder. He's been utilised more regularly by Franco Parisi as a fullback, which is he played more often in his native Japan before he move over to Australia. Stewart happy to settle for the throw deep in his own half. It's not the only big match coming up for both of these two clubs, both entering into the Australian Cup over the next couple of weeks. Big game for Blacktown City here. At this time next weekend, they'll have the focus of the Channel 10 cameras and indeed of a big portion of the Australian football community when they host Adelaide United, looking to relive some of the upsets that they've been able to cause over the years. The Western Sydney Wanderers all the way to penalties here in a quarter-final of the Australia Cup. In 2017, Grant Lynch was a big part of that squad. The penalty in that shootout. Unfortunately, they went down in eventually after a 2-2 draw. That was all after they'd beaten the Central Coast Mariners to get here. Her performance at this stadium that night. We'll be looking to replicate it again here on Wednesday. Rodriguez turning it over. The attacking half, stepping in to try and win it back was Burney. He did exactly that. Rodriguez gets a second bite of the cherry. Manages to work a throw. As for APIA, they've got a bit of travelling to do. Get a rare midweek off. They haven't had one of those for almost a month. They get a whole week off and then one of flights up to Queensland for a Wednesday night fixture against Olympic FC at Goodwin Park. Excited to see how far they can progress in the competition this time around. They're one of the couple of clubs to have registered 2 victories over the years in the FFA and then Australia Cup. Flipping header you'll remember from Nathan Milgate knocking out Melbourne Victory back in 2018. Famous win too far from here, but 20-25 minutes drive at Leichhardt Oval. Brilliant goal from almost inside his own half from the now retired Tynan Diaz. Put out Daniel Margush that night. Solid history in that cup competition for both these teams to try and relive over the next couple of weeks. Focus firmly here at Landon Stadium though, certainly for the Blacktown City defence, because Stewart's running at them. Lynch out to meet him and forced a decision to be made. Wasn't the best one from Jack Stewart. Firing in a shot more in hope than anticipation. Didn't exactly have Tristan Prendergast holding his breath. He's just settled into a bit of a lull. Such a hot start from APIA Leichhardt, the opening goal given to them by their top scorer so far in all competitions this season, Ben Gibson. After Jack Armstrong missed an early opportunity, through on goal, putting the ball wide. He's almost put on a platter for him. Anthony Bazanis having to make a save onto his own crossbar after Blacktown City had considered that opening goal. Scrappy bit of defending from a corner kick. Notable chance. 15 minutes just of APIA controlling possession and trying to settle the tempo of this game, which they've done a fairly good job of. It's this young side sent out by Blacktown City coach Mark Crittenden tonight. Maniti getting himself into a bit of a tangle there. Stewart took it off him, and then he's happy to bring down Armstrong just to point out any consequences that may have resulted. It's exactly the point Eddie Caspers is making to the referee, Freddie Merchant, who's kept his cards in his pocket in the opening half hour or so. Conditions on another Western Sydney Knights here. Semi-final of the Waratah Cup. It's perfect conditions for football, really. All that wind we had over the weekend has subsided. Ben Gibson certainly enjoying the conditions. He wants to bring this one down. Fee Stewart, he close to have been really the danger for Blacktown City in these early stages, and Jordan bears the fruit of their good work down the right. He won't score too many simpler, Rory Jordan, who just ghosted into the 6-yard box, completely unmarked, and Tristan Prendergast had no chance of keeping it out.
For APIA Leichhardt, scored by number 11, Rory Jordan. It's now APIA Leichhardt 2,
third goal of the
Blacktown
cup run
City
for Jordan. His 9th in all competitions, a consistent threat, whether providing for others or getting his own name on the score sheet. And Blacktown City's hole has just got that little bit deeper. Dominated in terms of territory and possession, really, and unable to turn the tide to this point. Plenty of options for Mark Crittenden on his bench, but certainly was hoping that he wouldn't have to be calling on them this soon. Some defensive lapses, a couple of turnovers deep in their own half. Stewart and Gibson have run riot, particularly down the right-hand side. Danny Choi has been a peripheral figure, as has Joey Gibbs. Even Waratah has worked hard up front, but hasn't seen too much of the football either. It's going to be some sort of turnaround for Blacktown City to salvage anything from this cup tie. Plenty of football still to be played, though. Still 10 minutes plus whatever's added on for injuries and stoppages on the officiating crew, but at the moment, the momentum is all blue. They're going about getting themselves a confidence-boosting result, which they so badly need. Jack Stewart is in full flow at the moment, not able to get past Grantledge there, though. He's been the one that's been able to stop him to this point. It's Danny Choi. His way to pass is not precise enough to find Waratah there. Martin Marlowe has been superb on his return to the starting side after missing the weekend through suspension. Husky slotted in nicely alongside him in the centre of defence. Not his preferred position, definitely, but done an admirable job to this point, marshalling Joey Gibbs and Ruben Waratah. I think too much of Casper's playing out from deep positions, but that one gave Segreto enough of an opportunity to get his body in between the ball and the defender inside the free kick. We haven't had an extra time period in a Waratah Cup semi-final for 8 seasons now. A couple of those years, of course, weren't played due to the COVID pandemic. Certainly a drought. It's because we've had some blowout scorelines in these sorts of games for the past 5 years or so. City certainly hoping that won't be the case tonight, but if they can Randall hold some semblance of control in this match. Certainly the road in which this game looks like it's taking at the moment. There's been far too many turnovers in their own half like that for Mark Crittenden's liking, I'm sure. Kambayashi hardly even called his name, which tells you how effective in an attacking sense APIA have been. They haven't had to call on his exploits further up the pitch to this point. Guatemala. Askew goes direct. Ben Gibson had pulled off to the left-hand side. Prendergast was alive to the danger that was coming his way, right on the edge of his penalty area to claim that. Just a lack of options for the defensive players of Blacktown City when they look up at the moment. Prendergast with not too many avenues to travel down, which is his safest one. This is where they need Jacob Maniti to step up and try and play provider, but he hasn't done that. He's turned it over for Segreto. Unfortunately, it was Teng Atian who was able to get that back there and cut out the danger. Can Blacktown City strike on the counter? Guatemala read it beautifully in the air and just got enough on the football to head it clear. Yeah, having a rather more comfortable evening than they did in the quarterfinal against Marconi, where they did have to go to extra time, and it took a late goal. It was a stunner as well from Sean Simmons to secure their spot in the Australia Cup round of 32 and this game. Free kick blown by referee Merchant goes APIA's way for the first time. They have created their own luck as we tick towards the 40-minute mark. Kabayashi. Just allowed to turn it so without too much pressure. In fact, it was Segreto taking up the space between midfield and defence. Touch was a little late on him, and now APIA have a chance to try and make their double a treble here in the first half. Some sure strikers of the dead ball. Jack Stewart and Seiya Kabayashi will surely be in the conversation. Dakota Askew always seems to be in the committee around these sorts of situations as well. And Segreto scored a fabulous free kick just a couple of weeks ago at Lambert Park against Wollongong. He's got them a point that night. It's a ball that almost bounced before it entered the goal. Such was the kind of dip and power that he was able to get on the foot and free kick. Segreto is over this one. Askew walking away. It's the former Central Coast Mariners man with 4 in the wall. And he does it again! He has done it again! He's got the winning ticket from free kicks at the moment. Jordan Segreto, a stunning strike. And APIA's double is now a treble just before the break.
APIA Leichhardt, score number 8, Jordan Segreto. It's now APIA Leichhardt 3, leading Blacktown City 0.
It was almost better than the one that he scored against Wollongong. Certainly from further out. And Tristan Prendergast hardly moved. A strike as pure as you will see anywhere around the world. A goal that takes Jordan Segreto to 11 for the season in all competitions. There's been a couple of players who've made the move that are featuring tonight for APIA Leichhardt. We've already talked about Ben Gibson. Jordan Segreto is turning into a real game changer for APIA Leichhardt. And he might have taken this one out of the reach of Blacktown City before half-time. So APIA have enough attacking threats already. Now you can't even foul them really within any space about 25 yards from goal because Segreto's in range. Can they pinch one back before the break? Gibbs felt that he was being held, but Guatemala was purely doing a commanding defensive job. Cut out by Nick O'Brien, trying to take some responsibility himself. He's one who can strike them from distance. That one's skimming low across the turf. Anthony Bazanis saw it the whole way. Was able to field fairly easily. That's been about the extent of the opportunities Blacktown have been able to muster since going down by a second goal. Is the cup tie already won? Certainly Blacktown City fans have seen enough character from their team over the years to believe that it's not so, but it is going to be something special if they are to turn this one around now. Julian Rodriguez, the 18-year-old. For Teng Atian. Mentioned it was a young side that Mark Crittenden's put out tonight. No doubts about that, but it's certainly one with plenty of quality, probably more than they've shown. Danny Choi getting into space. And that was a big chance for Ruben Oloatife, who took the gamble and dived across the face of goal. Any contact and you fancy he might have beaten Anthony Bazanis, but not to be. Danny Choi is going to have to take this game by the scruff of its neck now. You feel if Blacktown City are to get back into it. A bit of concern. The APIA Leichhardt player down in their own area. I think it's Eddie Caspers. He's down sitting, receiving some treatment from the APIA Leichhardt physio. Not a great sign. They do have Adrian Uchino to take his spot. It's a very good replacement to have available given the situation of the game now. Someone who screens in front of the defence almost better than anyone in the competition, but pressing is the thrust and drive and energy that Caspers gives them through the centre of midfield, a player they're going to need for the run into the finals and that big Australia Cup tie coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Big game this weekend for APIA Leichhardt on Sunday afternoon at Rockdale Illingdon, a team they have such a good record against over the past few seasons in the battle for silverware, but it's a game they need to even mathematically keep their chances of claiming a premiership alive. Funnily enough, it might be their old rivals Marconi who they end up doing the biggest favour for if they are able to go down to Rockdale and get all 3 points come the weekend. Now Choi's been caught as he looked to get the strike away. Hands on hips from Segreto, but it was from a mirror position from where he scored down the other end. He's conceded a free kick, which will give Choi, who's no slouch from a dead ball himself, a chance to try and match it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the fourth official has indicated there will be 3 additional minutes of time added on, a minimum of 3 minutes.
Fourth official tonight is a very experienced Michael Weiner. Hasn't had too much management to do between two pretty placid technical areas to this point. I feel Blacktown City might need at least one goal back before the break if they are to get anything from this cup tie. It's Choi over the football and whipping it in at the near post. He forced Bazanis into a very sharp save. Receives the congratulations from his defenders because they know how important that is. A 3-goal lead is very different to a margin cut to 2 come the half-time break. Still a resulting corner to defend for APIA. That's a good ball and a free header, which was almost missed entirely by Gibbs. Didn't get the purchase he was looking for whatsoever, and it was a free header, not picked up through the centre of the APIA Leichhardt penalty area. Someone with the experience of Joey Gibbs, he will be kicking himself. Hands on hips in frustration. Couple of chances just before the break that might come back to Blacktown City. Oloatife inches away from getting his toe to a ball. Certainly the drive that they finished this first half with will give them some energy going into the break. This is not a lost cause yet. A big uphill task short. Already Brodie Merchant is just keeping a very close eye on how long Anthony Bazanis is taking with his restarts. Eddie Kasper's making his way down towards the dressing room just before the break, unless I'm mistaken. So APIA Leichhardt down to 10 for the moment. They have brought on a replacement in the shadows of half-time. Rodriguez trying to exploit that space. Waratah looking to get off the shoulder. Askew's so quick. It's going to be easier said than done. Holds him up now in the corner. And a retreating challenge from Jack Armstead, who was back there. Wanted the goal kick, didn't get it. All hands on deck for APIA in the closing stages of this first half. Blacktown City try to salvage something. Choi over to take the corner. Puts it in near post, fairly easily cleared initially by Askew. Maniti, always off balance, and his strike over the top sums up Blacktown City's first half. Where they pressed hard in the closing stages and have left themselves a big job to do. 3 goals from 3 different goal scorers for APIA Leichhardt. Ben Gibson getting the first before Rory Jordan tapped in from close range. And then Sean Singreto from a free kick again, giving Blacktown City an unenviable task in this Waratah Cup semi-final of having to come from 3 goals down in 45 minutes. Half-time at Landon Stadium with a place in the Waratah Cup final against Rockdale Illendon on the line. The scoreline at the break, Blacktown City 0, APIA Leichhardt 3.
On the end, when all our shadows disappear in the end.
Welcome back to Landon Stadium, the second half of this Waratah Cup semi-final about to get underway. APIA Leichhardt building a 3-goal lead for themselves in the first 45 minutes. Goals to Ben Gibson, Rory Jordan, and then a stunner from Jordan Segreto have given them the 3-goal buffer. And now they've just got to look to hold that out for the remainder of this match. And they will be through to their second straight Waratah Cup final after being beaten in that showpiece fixture a year ago by Sydney United. Rockdale Illingdon waiting for them this time around, and they got 45 minutes left to see out to book their place there. Blacktown City needing a night that would be remembered for quite some time around these parts to salvage something. Are they able to do it? You'll have to stick around and join us to find out. A strange at the break, Eddie Caspers
substitution for APIA Leichhardt going off.
We saw him walking down the tunnel with a suspected injury.
22, Eddie Caspers. Maxim Kasalovic, number 38, is his replacement.
Playing that deep role, so some more minutes for the youngster, former teammate of the star of this first half of this cup tie in its entirety so far, Jordan Segreto at the Central Coast Mariners. In the League One Grand Final together back in 2022, fell in that one. They're looking as though they're going to be on the winning side tonight, unless Blacktown City have got something to change that. Crittenden stayed with the same 11 for now. Until he pulls the trigger. Makes a couple of those changes. He's got an experienced bench at his disposal tonight. Travis Major is there, Mitch Malia, Marty Fernandez, all goal-scoring options, as well as the youngsters Nikit Prasad and Zach Butler. Let's see if he goes to those experienced campaigners, or perhaps the youngsters to bring some more firepower. Gibbs missed a gilt-edged opportunity towards the end of the first half. Ruben Oratife inches away from sliding one home, so it's not as though Blacktown City have been completely out of the match, but certainly APIA Leichhardt dominated the opening 45 minutes, going about just waxing their way through to a second consecutive cup final. Had the chance to do the double last year. We're fortunate that they lost Sean Simmons to 2 early bookings in that one after taking the lead through Rory Jordan. Deft header after the cross from Sean Simmons to him on that afternoon at Leichhardt Oval. Moved off to B. And they return to that showpiece event and pick up the silverware this time. We'll have to wait and see. It hasn't been the longest wait for them. They were winners in Waratah Cup final back in 2018 when they scored a comprehensive victory over Hakoah Sydney City. Blacktown have had rather a longer wait, and it's looking at the moment as though it's going to go on. No cup final since 2015 for them. They were winners of the grand final just a couple of years ago in 2022. Coming together off the ball between Tyron Burney and Saya Kambiyashi. Was it the youngster, actually? Deng Atian, who was involved in that little entanglement. I think O'Brien is trying to play negotiator with referee Freddie Merchant. Had a very good view of the incident. Took a while before blowing his whistle. He's decided, as he did through the entirety of the first half, to keep his cards in his pocket. But the free kick has gone APIA Leichhardt's way. Over of possession in a critical moment in the match as Blacktown City tried to turn the tide. Dakota Askew back into the starting team tonight. Temba Muatamalo in the art of defence has hardly put a foot wrong and has done a brilliant job of marshalling, particularly Ruben Oratife. Ball inside from Stewart, who's been an absolute menace that Blacktown have not really found an answer for. Saya Kambiyashi can start getting forward down the other flank, then they're going to have double the trouble. He's trying to get the return ball off Gibson, nearly fell for Armson, and still there Jack Armson, flicks it up for Kambiyashi, and Burney was back to make the block. Prendergast was beaten. Snuck through his legs. Thankfully, TJ Burney had his closed. The ball goes behind for a corner. APIA Leichhardt looking to try and drum up a big scoreline. Had a couple of those over the course of this cup run, not least in their first game where they trailed early to Hazelbrook. before piling in 19 goals in that round 4 clash with the Association Club. Haven't quite matched that, but 5 goals against Berkeley Vale and the Blacktown Spartans before that tight 2-1 victory over Marconi that got them here. Can they add another one to the score sheet? Touch from Kambayashi was a little loose this time. It's Marlowe trying to win the ball back, flicked on. Rodriguez trying to make something of this. So it's Kasalovic doing some defensive work. Armson managed to keep his feet under the challenger Gibbs. Great strength shown by the APIA midfielder. And that ball in behind is a beauty for Gibson, whose touch was just a little too far ahead of him. Now Bernie, who's really been the star of the Blacktown backline tonight, to get back and recover. Gibson looking for a second. Thumping it into Nick O'Brien. Gibbs. Clever touch for Choi. That's cut off by Azone, who's barely put a foot wrong. Our right fullback tonight. Not the only one of the APIA players you can say that about. The dancing feet of Jack Stewart causing more issues. The pass with the outside of his right boot was easily read by Lynch, but Blacktown are resuming in the similar vein in which they started the game, where they struggled to get out of their own half. Askew for Kambayashi. Turn ball from Jordan, beautifully weighted. The Japanese fullback. Gives it back to Jordan, playing between themselves at the moment, those two. O'Brien sweeping up the situation. Can Rodriguez get in full flow? They've just not allowed him to do that yet tonight, APIA. There's enough of a tug back on his shirt by Jack Elmsford to draw the ire of Brody Merchant, the referee. Yeah, just joining us, you missed a fair bit in the first half. 3 goals in a dominant display from APIA Leichhardt. The first coming from Ben Gibson, tap in from Rory Jordan, and then a stunning free kick from Jordan Segreto, which just rubbed some salt into the wounds of Blacktown City before the break. Stewart's allowed to turn with relative ease. Gibson got the running and has beaten Nick O'Brien to the football. He's bearing down on goal, and Prendergast keeps Blacktown City in the tie. Without his right boot, it was all over. It was Nick O'Brien just caught out by the pace of Gibson, which is what he came into FPL New South Wales football being known for, was his ability to get in behind. He was a superb winger in the juniors for Manly United, moved more and more centrally since his move up to first grade with the Sydney FC Academy, and then this season with APIA Leichhardt, where he's been a goal-scoring sensation. Keeps dropping deep, just trying to get involved in the game somewhat. That's a beautiful ball from Jacob Maniti. Haven't seen enough of that from him tonight. Judge that one to perfection. And young Yukai Miki has managed to get forwards, but a little too excited in his run forward and caught offside. Two youngsters entrusted with starts tonight by Crittenden. Teng Atian and Yukai Miki still out there. Miki's had a torrid time down the left-hand side trying to deal with the attacking threats of Jack Stewart and Gibson, who's favoured the right-hand side of the pitch tonight. Again, he's making a run in that sort of area, so Bizanis looks to try and pick him out. They're ahead of O'Brien, but didn't have too much in the way of support up with him. It's not the be-all and end-all for Blacktown City this season, certainly this game, but it's a chance for Silverware that slowly slipping away. Oh, he just stumbles over the football. A little bit of inexperience showing there, but credit to him, he managed to get back to his feet and recover his own error. Nothing wrong with the desire of the youngster, that's for sure. Or the pace. He's burning. Can he get forward? He used to do it in fits and starts in the first half. Now he finds Gibbs looking for the return, and Kambayashi is watchful in his tracking back. A little frustrated he wasn't able to keep the ball in play. A corner for Blacktown City. Could this be the start of the comeback? Next chance of the first half really came when Anthony Bazanis was forced to tip the ball onto his crossbar just under the 20-minute mark. From a set-piece situation. Choi goes short. Well, and the return from Meneti is really useless because Choi would have been in an offside position. The best thoughts out. They have taken that corner kick for sure, and that'll just allow APIA to need a few more seconds off the clock. Looking comfortable with the 3-goal lead they've built for themselves. As I mentioned, there are still options for Mark Crittenden on the bench. Whether he opts to go to them is a different story, considering the size of the deficit. Travis Major, Mitch Malia, Marty Fernandez, all there. All the experience in big games and scoring big goals in those games, most critically. Brian with a clever piece of defending, just gave Gibson a bit of a shove in the back and then won the header. Waratah. Measure it for Gibbs. It was cut out by Waratah, hoisted away by Armson. Got through a bit more defensive work than we're used to seeing him do so far tonight, but he's carried out those duties with aplomb. And Nick O'Brien trying an audacious switch of play. In the situation you can question the wiseness of. He'll be happy to play out the remainder of the half hour or so of regular time that he's left on the clock. In situations like this, they've got the technical quality to get the ball off Blacktown, although Segreto didn't show it with that touch. A lesser depth than the stunning free kick, which gave up here this 3-goal lead. Might just be the goal of this Waratah Cup tournament. Lynch to match it, although that ball just catching a bobble as he went to strike it. Certainly that's what he'll say. Get his head over the ball, the futsal route. It's often taken for granted now, Grant Lynch, so long and illustrious has been his career at this level. Always received the honours he deserved. He was Blacktown City Player of the Year back in 2018, made the team of the season for the NPL the year after. Always claimed the individual accolades, which certainly some observers, including this one, think he deserves. He's had to get through a lot of work marshalling this young backline tonight. Rides into that challenge with perfect timing. Gibson Meneti linking up. Choi, who's really been held to account tonight by Nick Azone down the right-hand side, has done a terrific job in defensive, marshalling Korean-born winger. Waratah got a touch, and now there's a chance for Joey Gibbs. Most space he's seen all evening. Kobayashi rising to clear, and Anthony Bazanis. Oh, there was a mix-up there, and penalty awarded by referee Merchant. Anthony Bazanis can't believe it, but the Blacktown City attacker was caught. Ruben Waratah limps back with his head hung, but having won a big penalty for his team that could keep them alive in this cup tie. A moment really out of nothing. A defensive header from Kabayashi that caused some confusion amongst the APIA Leichhardt defence. Waratah wasn't waiting. He threw himself in at it, and he's won his side, the penalty kick, which Joey Gibbs is now poised to take. Two old heads in New South Wales State football now. Gibbs has converted plenty of these opportunities over his time. He's not the usual penalty taker. That's Travis Major's job. But it's Gibbs now. And he scores to keep Blacktown City alive. A glimmer of hope for
Goal of
the
Blacktown City
hosts.
converted from the
With
spot.
just
Score
over
by
half an
number
hour
23,
to
Joey
play.
Gibbs. It's now Blacktown City 1, APIA Leichhardt 3.
A measure of interest. Returning to the Waratah Cup semi-final. They're not dead yet, Blacktown. A spark just through the opportunism of one of their strikers, converted by the other. And they're hoping it starts a flame that can grow into a fire that fuels this comeback. APIA could look to douse that out immediately. Ben Gibson's running power can give them that opportunity, but his was the last touch, according to referee Brody Merchant and his assistant on that far side tonight, Patrick Talecki. Is there a measure of confidence from that moment restored to Blacktown's play? It's all been a little bit tentative, particularly in possession. They need more players showing for the ball, playing out than they're getting at the minute. Waratah's not been able to win too much in the air. He's into a scrap with Waratah. Managed to hold him up. Gibbs got his head to the ball. Now chases after the scraps. APIA's dominance of possession has somewhat dissipated in their second half, but they still looked in pretty comfortable control of the tie until just a moment ago when Joey Gibbs converted that penalty kick. Nice work from Atian. Put under pressure from the high press of APIA. O'Brien hasn't had too much luck with those switches of play tonight. That was better judged, but better forward from Yukai Miki. Missed its mark. The ball wasn't meant for Jordan Segreto, but it almost reached him. Nick O'Brien stretching to keep the ball in play and the attack alive that Blacktown are hoping to develop. Atian. Maniti just allowed to turn. Rodriguez. Lovely touch to beat one. In fact, it's Choi who's picked it up on the left-hand side. Bending it over the top for Waratah, who's drifted out to the left-hand side. Back to Choi. Beautifully cut out by Temba Waratah, who's been so difficult to get around this evening. Greto trying to dribble his way out of trouble. Goes into the resulting challenge. As well, that ends well for APIA. They're able to clear their lines through Bizanis. His header forward, only returned by Armson for Segreto, and off the shoulder now, he's onside, Jack Stewart, clean through on goal. Could he kill it off? He rounds the goalkeeper, and APIA Leichhardt have one for it in the final. There's some concern for Jordan Segreto in back play. He'll be credited with the assist, putting his body on the line after scoring the goal from the free kick just before half-time. But a great moment for Jack Stewart, who's caused so much problem for Blacktown down the right-hand side of APIA Leichhardt's attack tonight. He gets his goal. But might have just
APIA Leichhardt, silver number 7, Jack Stewart. It's now Blacktown City 1, APIA Leichhardt 4.
And after not winning a game in their last 4 in the league, APIA Leichhardt were looking for this sort of display tonight. They've got it. And a team that's certainly not full strength. They boast so much depth through their ranks for Franco Parisi to turn to. They've done that tonight. Might have to look to go to it again. That was a very late challenge on Segreto. It was a smart advantage play by Brody Merchant. Resulted in a goal. That's exactly the point of the rule. And he's capitalised so much for them tonight. Like he headed off for an early shower. Gingerly back to his feet. Hopefully just a big bruise to show for his trouble tomorrow morning rather than anything more serious. So it was Grant Lynch that went into the challenge, and early APIA players upset for their attacker who was taken out. Asking the referee why there wasn't further punishment. Merchant looks to be taking some counsel from his crew around the pitch. Waratah has made his way to the sideline, so no immediate substitution for APIA Leichhardt. You can fancy that's the end of his night. Scoring the third and putting fourth really on a platter for Jack Stewart to finish off. Not had the big goal return he had last year, Jack, but still into double figures for the season across the competitions. Can Blacktown look to answer again? The door is almost closed on their Waratah Cup hopes this season. Marlowe trying to step away from trouble. He's managed to do exactly that. APIA will just try and manage this game to its conclusion now. Not going to see any more injuries or potential injuries. There's substitute stripping off on the far side. It looks to be Uchino. About needing to manage a game to its conclusion. I don't think you could be turning to player better suited. In fact, it's Michael Kuda who's stripping off as well. As though double change is about to be made for Franco Parisi. He wants to see out the final 25 minutes or so of this game. Tianu just was on it for a little too long there. Actually got rid before Gibson could put the ball off him. Maniti. O'Brien. For Jack Knott in the squad tonight. Played forward by Kambayashi. Jordan ducking inside. Armson. Off by Atian, who dived into the challenge rather loosely. Didn't manage to win the ball either. He's got a treat in defence. Zone to the goal scorer Stewart. Couple back defending him, recognising the threat. Kai Mickey's got a job on his hands, but he did well, stood up. And manages to fashion a throw for Blacktown City. So there's changes coming now for APIA Leichhardt. And it's not Uchino, it's going to be...
Substitution for APIA Leichhardt. Going off, injured, number 8, Jordan Segredo. Replaced by number 13, Jared Massarola. And also going off, number 2, Seiya Kambayashi.
Kambayashi's 90s over.
Replaced number 21, Michael Kuda.
Superb his last couple of performances. On either side of the defence, Michael Kuda being given a little run towards the end of this game. That'll be a like-for-like switch as well. Kuda was actually used in the centre of defence in a similar role to Dakota Askew over the weekend against Sydney United in that 2-0 loss. It seems a fair while ago now. APIA back in full flow out of that big clash with Rockdale Illingdon in the league that is coming on Sunday. You'll be able to watch that and all the games on the NPL New South Wales men's and women's over the course of the weekend. Where you found this one on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Tune into that one on Sunday afternoon. That's going to go a long way in deciding where the premiership lands. APIA Leichhardt, though, fixed with their focus on the final 20 minutes or so of this game as a second straight Waratah Cup final beckons. Stewart just lost his defender that time. Steps past Lynch. Maniti went in shoulder to shoulder and did well. He's a much smaller man than Jack Stewart, Jacob Maniti, but good strength there. Turn the ball over. There's a sequence of play that sums up Blacktown City's night. It's that. Pieces of work just interrupted by a few too many mistakes, particularly with the ball at their feet. Tamalo has picked out Gibson. Read the wrong side of the defence, but then he was back to sweep up. Lynch. Kai Mickey. Technical player. Saw it there as he led the ball for Danny Choi. An attack for Blacktown coming to nothing. Goals so far tonight, if you're just joining us, with about 20 minutes to go in this Waratah Cup semi-final. 3 of them scored in the first half by APIA Leichhardt. Ben Gibson and Roy Jordan finishing rather simply before Jordan Segreto struck one of the free kicks of the year to make it 3 at the break. Blacktown City gives themselves a glimmer of hope through Joey Gibbs' penalty kick, which found its way past Anthony Bazanis and scored his clean sheet. But then an answer came again from APIA. Jack Stewart knocking in their 4th, and they might be looking for 5 here. Poor turnover from Maniti, and Rory Jordan's 1-on-1. Great save from Prendergast. And then Lynch right on the spot to put the ball behind. Not sure he knew too much about that retreating clearance, but did just enough to keep the scoreline at 4-1 for now. What will probably be the source of the biggest frustration for Mark Crittenden from this game is the fact that they really have gifted APIA a couple of their goals. 2 bookends particularly. Turnovers deep in their own half. Now they've got a quarter to defend. Thompson takes all the way initially. Kasalovic can strike them from distance, but chooses just to protect the football. Why wouldn't he with the scoreline as it is? Although Azone pondering over that for a little too long. And Danny Choi's got a long-range goal in him. Just didn't quite have the dip, but Anthony Bazanis had fear in his eyes when he saw that ball fall on Danny Choi's left foot. We'll remember the strike in the FFA Cup as it was then against Sydney United all those years ago. Looking good for a repeat of it there. Wasn't to be, and that's his final action of the night. Mark Crittenden pulling off he and Prendergast. That's the end of his evening as well. Chance for the young goalkeeper Evan Davis to get out and do a little bit of goalkeeping work in this competitive environment. We're having a glut of substitutions from both sides. You can confirm that Jack Stewart is one of those that has made way. We'll get to you all these substitutions. Alex Denmead is his direct replacement. Mitch Marley is just on the pitch and trying to catch Bazanis out. Got his angles right. Mitch Marley is good for a goal in all of these big games. This time might be lost, but still could have given Blacktown City supporters a special memory with scoring a goal from the best part of 30 yards. Adrian Nucino has joined us for a little run in those
confirmation of the substitutions of APIA Leichhardt going off. Goalkeeper Anthony Bazanis.
He's won so many pieces of silverware over such a storied career. The 2019 Grand Final, he was
number 7, Jack Stewart.
Title all the way back in 2012.
Number 14, Jack Armson.
O'Brien is still out there.
Replaced by goalkeeper number 27, Evers Davis. Number 18, Adrian Neutrino. And number 30, Alex Denmead.
Lynch turns it over. Not in a good area. Can they make it 5 APIA? Able to dribble their way past Jacob Maniti, who's feels a bit rough to call it a Rocks and Diamonds performance, but he's been that at different times. Julian Rodriguez just showing off his skills through the centre of the park, but he's pulled up now.
Confirmation of the substitutions for Blacktown City. Going off number 1, Tristan Prendergast. Replace number 20, Caden Henderson.
In fact, sorry, I've got that goalkeeping change wrong. It's Caden Henderson who's been for Evan Davis, 19-year-old. A fair resume behind him, Caden Henderson, who was one of the Australian schoolboys taught to the UK earlier this year. That's for Nikit Prasad, who's looking left full back now, or left wing back as it has been as the game has gone on for the youngster UK Mickey. His ball over the top. It's Massarola, first touch I can remember him having. Alex Denmead had a field day earlier in the tournament where he managed to stick home a few in the early rounds. At least against Hazelbrook in that big 19-1 win that night. The goal against the Blacktown Spartans in round 6 as well, so he's had fun in this competition. Not to add to his tally here. One pair of Ben Gibson is still giving Blacktown City some problems going forward in the dying stages of this cup tie. Molly a dropping deep. But there's just too many blue shirts around him. Somehow managed to wriggle free of the attentions of Massarola and Michael Kuda. So they're happy to just do the simple thing and put the ball out of play. Another change coming, as if we haven't seen enough already.
Also, number 53, Usai Meki, was replaced. Number 27, Nikita Prasad. Also going off, number 11, Danny Choi, was replaced by number 14, Mitchell Malia.
Played in a couple of games already during this campaign. A couple more additional minutes. Ruben Olatife has been taken off as well. That signals an acceptance from Mark Crittenden of his fate tonight. Kuda, inside for Massarola. Pitched off. Lynch wearing the captain's
also being replaced for Blacktown City, number 9, Ruben Olatife. And then coming on, number 29, Zach Butler.
To run at the defence, has just not had the cutting impact that Mark Crittenden was hoping for. Nick O'Brien. This might give Malia a chance. How clever was that header from Kuda just to knock it into the space away from the Blacktown striker. Bernie has taken up the attack and he's got a clean nutmeg of Askew. Bazanis loses grasp of it and the free kick is awarded before the ball ends up in the back of the net. No double for Joey Gibbs. Demba Moatamoa had front position in the foot race and Gibbs had to go right through him to try and get the goal. Not to be. It's an update from the Australia Cup playoff that's being played tonight, and that's an important one. For any Rockdale Illingdon fans that be watching on this evening, the Newcastle Jets with a 4-0 lead, just 7.5 minutes left to be played up there in Darwin, so it looks as though the Jets will be the visitors to the Illingdon Sports Centre in a week's time. Game being played on the same night as Blacktown's clash with Adelaide United at Landon Stadium. Two A-League clubs across NPL New South Wales grounds on the same night. It'll be a fantastic one for football in this state.
Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, Blacktown City will be back home here on Sunday, round 26 action of the NPL New South Wales men's competition, taking on Western Sydney Wanderers. The game is a 3 p.m. kickoff. Don't forget, next Wednesday, the 31st of July, Australia Cup round 32 clash up against Adelaide United. Tickets are on sale now. You can go to tickettebo.com.au/BCFC. So make sure you get down next week. Tell all your friends and family. You'll see a huge crowd on hand as we take on Adelaide United in round 32 of the Australia Cup.
Denmead was looking to flick one around the corner. Fairly easily cut off by Nick O'Brien. Not sure if APIA were expecting or anticipating a victory as easy as they've ended up finding this one. Certainly it's been hard fought and they've had to stay attentive through the middle of the park, but they've only had to face one opposition on this run to the final before Blacktown, and that was Marconi in the quarter-final. Blacktown's journey went rather the other way. They opened up with St George City in the first round and managed to Scrapper 2-1 win on that night with Jaden Tredkowski and Jack O'Brien on the score sheet. They face Fraser Park in the lower leagues of the Football New South Wales. Waratah Northbridge, the association club, made a fairy tale run all the way to the quarterfinals last season, and into Lions, who made it all the way to the Australia Cup winner 32, were swatted aside by 5-1. Only Choi with 2 goals that night. No such luck this evening. 4 ball inside from Teng Atian. Fortunately, APIA are now trying their luck from distance. Henderson playing ball boy for himself. Big clashes for both teams this weekend as well. We've talked a lot about the cup football they've got coming up, but APIA Leichhardt with that crunch clash on Sunday in the league to try and keep their small glimmer of a chance in the premiership race alive. They'll need all 3 points against Rockdale for that to be the case on Sunday. Down at the Illingdon Sports Centre, a 3 o'clock kickoff on Sunday afternoon. Same time back here at home against London Stadium. Blacktown City will go in as heavy favourites against the out of form Western Sydney Wanderers Academy side. To shore up their place in the top 6 in the race for finals. Just 5 league games going before the return of the final series in the league. To catch all of those games and the remainder of the league season, where you've caught this game on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. It's been Alex Molchanoff along with you tonight, bringing you all the action. Pleasure to be here for the second Waratah Cup semi-final. Rockdale Illingdon awaiting what looks to be APIA Leichhardt. Another chapter to the number of important matches that those two have played over the past 18 months or so. Armson has found a way past Jack O'Brien, or Nick O'Brien I should say. Gibson, who's drifted further and further to the right as the second half has gone on. To measure one in behind, but that was easily picked off by the substitute goalkeeper Caden Henderson. The goals we were anticipating tonight, for sure. Probably not the closest of contest that we might have been expecting. Even with all the changes, still a thought that open and attacking football might produce a little more even result, but APIA Leichhardt came out so quickly from the blocks that Blacktown City really didn't have time to get into the game before they were on the back foot. Albeit, in contrast to their form over the past couple of weekends, have been clinical in front of goal as well. Only missed opportunity from Jack Armson this time has not come back to haunt them whatsoever. Gibson scoring and forcing a good save from Tristan Prendergast either side of half-time. Segreto scoring from that stunning free kick just before the break, before laying on Jack Stewart's goal. Copped an injury in the process, but we seem to, for the next couple of days ahead of that big clash against Rockdale on Sunday. Another attacking corner for APIA. Five-time Waratah Cup winners looking for another tilt at that title. They've only won it twice since 2013. In fact, you can make that twice since 1978. They won 3 times in the early iterations of this competition. Had to wait more than 30 years for their 4th crown. In that drought in 2013. After returning to New South Wales State League football from the National Soccer League. Trophies have continued to flow for this famous old football club. Could have just misjudging that one for Denmead, who appreciates the effort from his more senior teammate. For APIA, some semblance of revenge for that early drubbing here that they copped on the opening day of the season. by 3 goals on that day after conceding 6. Imagine standing by the same way in the reverse. At the moment, with just over 5 minutes of regular time to play, can't imagine we'll be seeing too much of stoppage time. Blacktown have seemed to pull the ball out of this game. Certainly Grant Lynch has not lost the fire in his belly, running into midfield and dragging down Jack Armstrong, who's been in the wars a bit tonight. Certainly been fouled once or twice. Cody Merchant's just asking APIA Leichhardt to wait a moment so that their midfielder can return to his feet. A repeat indeed of their cup meeting in the FFA Cup, as it was back in 2017 earlier. That fantastic year for Blacktown City in this competition. Knocked off the Central Coast Mariners, beat the APIA Leichhardt Tigers as they were then. 3 goals to 1 in the round of 16. A couple of goals for one Joey Gibbs that night. Didn't repeat the trick this evening, although he did get Blacktown's lone goal from the penalty spot after Ruben Oro-Tife caused a bit of a clumsy challenge from Anthony Bazanis as he came off the back of a bit of a miscommunication with his defence. Hasn't hurt APIA in the long run at all. Be past a postscript in the end, rather than anything material. Love to have it at a 5th, just as the sprinkles on top of the cherry, really. Alex Denmead could be looking to provide that. Up save from Henderson at his near post. Draws deserved applause from the hardy Blacktown City supporters that have hung around despite the scoreline. The injured players up in the box alongside us tonight. Mario Chabau is moving freely, I can report, which is good news. So we'll be hoping he's back, if not for this weekend, then certainly for the latter stages of the run-in. After he went off fairly early with an injury against the Central Coast Mariners up at Plume Park over the weekend. He's getting into a little bit of a wrestling match with Jackson Bandiera. So all seems to be moving rather sweetly for the Blacktown City club captain. Lucky up to top of 5th here, able to be cut out by Tegatian. Looks as though he's going to see out the 90 minutes, as is Joey Gibbs. Worked hard tonight, got his name on the score sheet. Jamali has been a positive influence, there's no surprise about that since coming on. Nick O'Brien. Expect to see him back in the heart of midfield come Sunday afternoon. Mitch Marley is the wrong side of the defence. He's favoured that right foot, which might explain why he didn't catch it as sweetly as he was looking to. Salovic just able to amble the ball out of defence. Andrew Nucino never seems to do anything any quicker than his pace. And the ball over the top for Kuda. Left his path short. Not quite looked as tidy as he always does, Michael Kuda. One accustomed to coming off the bench, so a bit of an unusual role for him tonight. He's got some defending to do here, but he plays it past him to Malia. Might just look to go himself here. That's exactly what he does. He might have taken a touch on the way through. It won't matter for Joey Gibbs, who gets another cup goal. It'll be nothing more than a consolation.
Got on Blacktown City score number 23,
There's a man
Joey
from Blacktown
Gibbs.
City out there
Now
tonight that
Blacktown
did
City
deserve
2,
a couple of goals. It
4.
was Joey Gibbs. As he has such a knack of doing, found himself in the right time, in the right place to tap home. It was almost a carbon copy of Rory Jordan's goal for APIA Leichhardt in the first half. Took the scoreline to 2-0. Now Blacktown City have 2 goals on the board. And we've got a repeat of the result we saw here a year ago in the league. APIA looking to change that. Den Mead, who's got such lovely feet, the former Wanderers Academy product, but just fell in a heap as presented itself. Oh, now this could create some interest. Bazanis hasn't dealt with the ball, and Gibbs is right there with him. And did he drag the goalkeeper down? He did. What a let-off for Anthony Bazanis. That could have given us quite the grandstand finish out of absolutely nowhere. APIA have just got to keep their concentration for a matter of seconds, forget minutes. Joey Gibbs has done all he can tonight to give us some excitement from a neutral sound point, to give the Blacktown City fans that have made the trip out tonight something to cheer. Waratah trying to carry it right out of danger. He's managed to do that. Oh, Tengatian has gone down. Play continues for now. Kuda forward. Couldn't keep the ball from crossing the byline, and that is a worrying moment because Tengatian wasn't caught by
contact. The fourth
contact.
official has indicated there will be a minimum of 3 additional minutes added on, a minimum of 3 minutes.
Referees being professional in their work, but perhaps that nice little opportunity convinced them that there was still the slightest chance of a comeback.
Don't forget, Blacktown City's next home game is coming Sunday, round 26 action of the NPL New South Wales men's competition as we take on Western Sydney Wanderers.
I have to applaud the character of
kickoff.
Crittenden side tonight. Giving up the fight by any
next
stretch
week,
of the
Australia Cup
imagination.
clash
Led by Gibbs.
next Wednesday, round 32, up against Adelaide United. Tickets now on sale. You go to ticketebo.com.au
had a little longer to work his magic.
BCFC. On behalf of everyone here at Blacktown City, big thank you for your attendance today.
Saw it
We
all
look
the way.
forward
He'll
to
take every second afforded to
seeing you
him.
on Sunday. And if you haven't purchased the tickets, make sure you get your tickets now for the big round of 32 clash next Wednesday night.
Gibson's off the shoulder again. He's got the wrong side of Grant Lynch. And a good save by Henderson initially. It went straight back to Gibson. And Blacktown City's luck is all out tonight. Gibson made his own. Willing running into the dying stages of this cup tie. And he adds another goal to his tally. A 7th for the game, a 5th for APIA Leichhardt.
2, APIA Leichhardt 5.
And now a 7th of the campaign for Ben Gibson, which takes him to the top of the goal scoring charts in the Waratah Cup in season 2024. Another fantastic performance from him. He's taken the 2 clear chances that have presented themselves to him tonight. And his tally up now to 23 in all competitions this season. A fine return, and the flame, which was flickering and refused to go out, has now been extinguished by that goal from Ben Gibson. The sprinkles come. So give us something else late here. There is no chance of a comeback now. Sincerely write this cup tie off. It will be Rockdale Illingdon and APIA Leichhardt in the 2024 Waratah Cup final. Expecting that game to be played in early mid-August. Make sure you stay tuned to all the NPL New South Wales socials, the Football New South Wales socials. Just search Football New South Wales on Facebook, X and Instagram for all the updates of those fixture details as they come to hand. Australia Cup fixtures closer in the future of both these sides, but another chance for silverware for APIA. Thompson was thinking about having a go from long range, and Atayan was trying to play Denmead offside. That hasn't worked out. Alex Denmead, fabulous piece of goal line defending, but it is goal comfort for Blacktown City. A second straight Waratah Cup final for APIA Leichhardt.
Being defeated by APIA Leichhardt.
Led all the way. They came out of the blocks flying,
Blacktown
just as they did on the weekend, but the difference was that they were able to make their opposition play on the scoreboard.
Ben Gibson,
Ben Gibson with a double, Rory Jordan with a tap in from close range, and Jordan Segredo before he went off injured with one of the free kicks of the season, one of the goals of the season, to make it 3 before the break. Blacktown did their best to answer. Joey Gibbs getting a double from the penalty spot
back here at home, round 26 action.
inside the 6-yard box, but it wasn't enough.
Taking on Western Sydney Wanderers.
The 2024 Waratah Cup final is set. Rockdale Illidan against APIA Leichhardt. It'll be those two in a crunch clash in the league on Sunday. I'm sure you enjoy it on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. We are signing off from Landon Stadium from the Waratah Cup final. It's been a pleasure to bring this one to you tonight. Alex Boltonov.
Blacktown City Football Club.
Say goodbye.
Once again,
We're
turning up today.
Blacktown City 2, APIA Leichhardt 5.
Safe journey home. Thank you and good night.